is Devin, and welcome to my Family Secrets. A family secret is a secret kept within a family. Most families have secrets, but the kind and the importance vary. Family secrets can be shared by the whole family, or by some family members, or kept by one individual member of the family. The secret can relate to a myriad of topics, including taboo topics. The thing about family secrets is that a lot of times and oftentimes they can be detrimental to some family members and also can ruin the lives of others. Sit back, relax, and listen as I explain our family secrets. I'll tell you a little bit of my story. My mother, this was a long time ago. My mother got pregnant when she was in college. She was at Fisk University, and she started Fisk University in 1947. And she got she had a double scholarship, a Bosch and Lomb and a Pepsi scholarship in chemistry to go to Fisk University. And from what I can find out, or what I know now, is she got pregnant with me, and then she was from South Carolina, and Fisk, of course, is in Nashville. But I was born in Topeka, Kansas. She went to Detroit, where her sisters and her brothers were living at the time, and dropped me off with her sister, and then she went back to college. Mm-hmm. So then when I was about 6 years old, she picked me up with this man, and we moved to Columbus, Ohio, and it was like, that was like a new life. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that my aunt was my mother for a long time, and my aunt would say, "No, I'm not your mother." And she would say, "You have a mother, blah, blah, blah." And I knew who my mother was, but she wasn't around in my life a lot. But I guess she must have come to visit or something, because I knew who she was. But I didn't know who this man was. And as time, it was always something was weird to me, because something was missing. It was like they never talked about anything. My brother was born when I was 6, when they moved to Columbus. And then my other brother was born when I was 10. And my father was in the Air Force. And so we moved and we went overseas. But something was missing. And I used to say, "You're not my mother." And I used to say, "You're not my father," blah, blah, blah. And then my mother got this birth certificate and she gave it to me. And she said, "Here." And it had her name and his name on it. Yeah. So I couldn't really figure out how that could be. But I didn't know that there was such a thing as another birth certificate. Yeah. So until I was 34, I had that birth certificate, but I knew that he wasn't my father. And when I would ask my mother questions, she would somehow she would just kind of wiggle out of it. And she wouldn't give me any information. And so actually they kind of made me feel like I was crazy in a way. Because and other people, when I would say something to them, they would say, "Why do you think that?" And I was like, "Because I know." And they were like, "How do you know?" I'm like, "I don't know how I know." He just showed up, and I was old enough to know that I had never seen him before. Yeah. So, so where did he come from? And so later on in life, when I approached my mother when I was in my 30s, after I found the real birth certificate, and she said, she said, she said, "What are you going to do with the information if I tell you?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, I don't know, because you haven't told me." And so I said, "But if you told me," because by then I knew that he wasn't my father, because all it had was my name on the birth certificate. Just my first name. I had no middle name or anything. Mm. And she said, "Well, I'm not at liberty to give you that information." So she never gave it to me. I asked my aunt about it, and my aunt tried to pretend like she didn't know anything about it. She's like, "Oh, I don't know. I think she told me his name once, but I don't even remember." So that went on and on and on. So that's what I was living with, basically. Oh, and then I found adoption. When my mother was passing away in 2008, I found adoption papers. That's why I say, I guess I'm an adoptee, sort of.
Yep.
But you know what I mean? But I never like really thought about it that way. So lo and behold, now I lived with that. I tried to do everything I could to find out what was going on, and I couldn't. No one would tell me. And then because I was getting older and they were getting older because my mother was the baby of the family, people were passing away. So when my mother was in the hospital in 2007, I went to the hospital. She was in Hawaii. My father had already passed away a year or so before, and I thought, well, surely she's going to tell me on her deathbed. So I go there. My brothers and I, we go there, and every time we were in the hospital with her, she had cancer. They would go someplace, and I would stay. I would like, I'm going to stay because I know she's going to tell me, right?
Yep.
She never told me. She passed away and she didn't tell me.